Good day, everybody. Good day. Good day, everybody. Good day. This is your man Shannon coming at you again with another edition of You're So Witty. Hey, look, I have a special guest for you today, and his name is Mr. Matthew Talmadge, and I feel honored to have him here. We're going to do a special broadcast on Black business then and now, and I want him to just give us some history on where he's from, what he knows, and from there, we're going to just expound upon things concerning this show. Mr. Matthew, how you doing, sir? How you doing?
Doing fine.
Doing fine myself. And I just want to first of all, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming on. I feel honored to have you, sir. And I'm not even gonna hold it up. I just want you to give us a little bit about who you are.
My name is Matthew Talmadge, born here in Atlanta, Georgia, 1928, and live here with my parents. Grew up here, went to Washington High School. Didn't go on to college, but I did continue my living in school in Alaska, where I went to later on. But I was asked to do a history on Black businesses and my livelihood back in the days when I grew up. I grew up on the West Side, and during that time, me being in school, there were a few businesses on the West Side. 100 Ashford Street was the main street back then, and at that corner we had Pasca's barbershop. Right. We had Amos Drug Store. We had Ashford Theater, and across the street there was a funeral home, Sellers Brothers.
All right, so let me before we get going into that, let me say something, because you got a lot of history, man, and I know we can't even get it all bottled down into one thing. But what I want to say is this: all those businesses you named, what was Black American business like when you was a young man or as far as the community goes? How did we operate back those days?
Well, we operated the best we could with what we had. We started from scratch because we didn't have much. We didn't have the opportunities that other people had. So we had very little when we started our businesses. Most of us started with help from our families that help us get started with whatever finance we had to start to run a business with. There were Banks Barbershop at Mason Turner and Ashford Street, where I worked for a while. And across the street, there was Moore's Studio, which was the only Black studio that would take a full picture of you back then. And there were Parks shoe shop right beside it. And there was a pool shop up the street, a dry cleaning plant. And that was about what we had in that community. But being that far back, and looking back at where I come from and what was there then, it's mostly ruins compared to what we see around, because we have come a long ways from that time.
Did we support? Well, I know we did at some point because we only had each other at that time. What was the support like compared to what you see now in terms of the Black business?
Well, we didn't have many Black businesses, so we supported quite well. I think in many ways we supported each other much better then than we do now. Mm-hmm. We didn't have so many places where we could run around to where they got the best of what was being sold. Back then, we didn't know where the best was. we were walking or riding the streetcars, and we were having a hard time trying to get to wherever we could buy something. So we did the best we could. But the one that was in business, mind you, we didn't have many Black people in business back then. But the one that was in business, we supported each other the best we could with what we had.
Did integration help us all the way, or did it hurt us? Or in your opinion, just...
Well, when integration came, it was a two-bladed sword. There was good parts about it, and there were bad parts about it. Like now, we still have something that is good for us and bad for us. As I think about when they started the welfare, then that thing was started off as a good thing, but it ran so long that it end up being a bad thing for, I think that's my personal thought of it, but I think it hurt us a lot because it made us dependent of the government taking care of us. They used to give women that had children money each month. And I've seen quite a few guys work for some of them that would stay with their girlfriend during the month. And when it come time to get the check, they go home and stay with their mother.
Wow.
And they were getting what they call welfare checks. So that hurt. But we didn't have many of them doing it, but the one that did it, but it didn't help us. But all in all, through it all, we have come a long way and we have accomplished well. And I'm proud of the ones that have made it and how we made it.
Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. There's so many questions running through my head. I want to ask you this, though. What struggles, first of all, how did you start your working career and get into business of any sort?
Well, I was going to Washington High, and I decided that I wanted to try business myself. So I switched from going to day school and going to night school, and I started working as a presser. I wanted to do pressing because it seemed like the pressers was doing well in dry cleaning. And pressing was, well, you press the wool clothes and clothing. So I started trying to learn that. I went to this white establishment and told the guy I wanted to learn how to press. He had pressers there, and he told me that he allowed me to work there.
Right.
And he said, I can't pay you anything. I told him, well, I just wanted to learn. So he allowed me to learn. But after a while, one of the pressers that doing the press work saw me. He asked me, he said, "Say, young man, what are you doing here?" I told him I was there to learn how to press. He said, "Well, the man got you up there turning pants and brushing out cuffs." He said, "Oh, you can't learn how to press." He said, "Tell you what, when 1 o'clock comes, you come stand right here. I'm going to show you how to press." So I did. Make a long story short, he showed me how to do it. Then he said, "I'm leaving where one of the jobs I have. I'm taking another job, and I'm going to take you over and let you meet this man. You and he would be good because you are new and he doesn't have that much work. You work out good for him." So he carried me over there, and I started working there. And I worked for him a while, and in doing so, I saw what he had, how to run it, and everything. I decided I'm going to try this myself. So I saved me up enough money, and I was working at Pride and Georgia Avenue. And I decided the place was named Ideal Cleaners in Fulton County.
Right.
So I went to Marietta, Georgia, another city in another county, and I opened up a place up there named Ideal, but it was mine. And I bought me the same type of equipment he had, installed it, and I started working there. Excuse me. And I worked there until I went in service. I was drafted in the Army at that time. And I had to sell my business to go to the military.
Okay.
Excuse me.
No problem. No problem. My thing is, who were your customers at that time? I mean, for you.
Mine was totally black. There were no white people around where my place was. At that time, I would think from 75 to 100%, whatever community you were in, that's what if you were in a white people in white community,
right,
they went to their store. Black people in their community, if they had a store, they went to theirs. But most of us didn't have a store, so we'd have to go to the white community and get whatever we wanted and then bring it back to the black community. But every now and then we'd have somebody would try to start a new business in the black community, but our fund was so limited. And then we came a long ways. A lot of these places, a lot of black people couldn't, just like my mother. She didn't get a chance to actually finish school. My mother and father, they started, but they had to work on the farms during the farm time, and when the time they got to do the crops and things, they couldn't go to school, so they were limited, quite limited. So I felt blessed because when I came along, we could go to school, but
Yeah.
we didn't have the same situation that they had. And what's so blessed, my children, they didn't have to worry about finance. My wife and I, we live well enough that our children could go to school. They didn't have to worry about finance. We were able to send our children to school with no problem.
Don't worry about it.
No problem.
Mhm.
And as I look back over life, we have been blessed. God is good. Let me stop and say that.
That's
God
right.
is good
Amen to
all
that.
the time.
Yes,
God
sir.
is good. I've carried him with me every place I've gone, and I've left the Atlanta area, went to Marietta, Cobb County. From that, I was in service, went to service, came back. I had a couple of brothers that had gone to Chicago, so I followed them there, stayed there a year and about 2 years, and I decided then that I wanted to go and continue this business. I met a guy there in Chicago that had a cleaner, and he told me he went to California, made him some money, came back, opened up his business. I wanted to be a trailblazer like him.
Right.
I went out there and met somebody out there after being there about 6 months, and they told me that they worked in Alaska making $50 an hour.
Wow. Now back then, was that a lot of money or?
That was a lot of money.
Okay.
$50 an hour.
$50 an hour?
Yeah, $50 an hour.
Oh, that's a lot of money now.
I was trying to make $1.50 there in California, working as a presser, but I also learned how to do some mechanic work. So I tried to see if I could do better on mechanic work, which I did. And this guy told me about Alaska. So I was young and I say dumb enough to try going to Alaska. Yeah. So I went up there in 56, 56, and stayed up there 20 years. But I worked for the government up there.
Okay.
And while up there, God was good, as I say all the time.
Amen.
And he showed me how I could do things there. And there I put down roots and started well. And ever since, things were good for me there. I built a duplex there, built a home there, and built a service station.
All right,
there.
now I gotta get that. He brought me some pictures. You can't see it real clear on the camera just yet, but I can tell you this would have been back in what 67, 60 something when you built this, when you built the service station.
That's right.
This is 2021, and a lot of us don't have service stations. And you did it in Alaska.
That's right. That was the first full-size Texaco station in Anchorage, Alaska at that time.
Wow.
And a black man built it.
Wow. So what struggles would you say that you had that other race might not have doing this type of stuff?
During that time,
yeah,
there were very few black people in the state of Alaska at that time. Most of them that were there, they would do what they call season work. They go there and work during the time of season, and when the season was over, they'd go back stateside to wherever they lived.
Okay.
But there were some few that lived up there. I got lots of pictures of people that I met up there, and most of them, their children were born there. And some of those kids, I know several people up there that millionaires, but they stayed up there. The parents are gone now because they were my age. Yeah. I'm 93 years old.
93.
Most people 93 years. We don't have too many 93 years.
No. I mean, I was going to bring that point up too. This gentleman is 93, but he doesn't look 93. Look at that camera right there. I want him to look at you good. Look at that camera straight. Yeah, there you go. You're looking straight at 93 years old. We be lucky, most of us, to even get close to that, you know.
I had a cleaner in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay, in Marietta.
I had this station. I built this station in Anchorage, Alaska.
What is that? The only business you had in Alaska? The service station?
The service station in. I had some rentals up there.
Okay, rental property.
I built a duplex up there.
Oh, okay, good deal, good deal. How long did you run that service station again?
Well, now I built that. I built that for the other people to run it. I was working for the federal government.
But you owned it though.
I owned it, and
Yeah.
I would get off in the evening at 4:30 or 5 o'clock and call out there to see if they need parts, and if they need some parts, I'd swing by the part house, pick them up, and take them out there, because one of those stalls was used for doing mechanic work.
Saying your service station supplied what, fuel and mechanical work?
Right.
I see.
Right.
I see. Awesome, awesome. And it was the first full service Texaco
They are in Anchorage left at that time.
at that time. And how long did you own that?
I guess I had it 5 years at the longest.
Okay, very good, very good. That's awesome. Well, as a black owner of a business, the struggles that you saw, were there discriminative things that happened that tried to slow you down? Or I see you laughing. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna let you go on that.
It's interesting to hear you say that. But the main problem I had, it wasn't in business, so it was a living. Where we moved to, we moved in a community where we were the only blacks in that. We didn't know that. Our children were the only children in the class in some of these schools, and that would be sometimes you them coming home saying things that they heard.
Oh yeah,
it would be kind of amusing, but during the time I was there, prejudice wasn't that bad at all. I must say that. And
wow.
And I tell lots of young people now, I said, you be money wise, father head to go to Alaska, because it's still a frontier compared to what we have here in we call it the lower 40s.
Okay, right. And so you dealing with that. The racism wasn't as bad as you were saying then, but
No.
in terms of getting business started, was it a little tougher? If you had been another nationality, would it have been harder, or did it just happen real easy for you?
It was easy. Yeah.
Wow. So basically just giving it effort and having a will to do something.
But coming after I sold there and came here to back to Georgia,
wow,
that had been an interesting thing. I've always wanted some of these pretty red cow with a white face. I didn't even know the name of them, but they're Hereford cows. But when I grew up and going down to where my parents grew up, I'd see these pretty cows in the pasture. So when I got a chance to buy me some, I came back. I bought me some cows. I bought a farm when I came back.
So when you left Anchorage, Alaska, and came back to Georgia, you bought a farm.
I bought a farm. Yeah.
How much land are we talking for that farm?
About 43 acres.
43 acres. So you did get your 40 acre little mule then.
I didn't get the mule.
You didn't get the mule.
I bought a tractor. I bought a tractor.
Okay. Okay. Well, and you made it happen yourself. You didn't wait on nobody to give it to you. Yeah.
No one gave me that. The fact about it, since you said that, it was interesting that the guy that was selling this property, the bank was foreclosing on him.
Okay.
And then they told me that I could. They announced at the sale, it was an auction sale.
Wow.
That they would be happy to finance the property. But after I got the property, the next day they called me and told me that I need to pay it for it because they wouldn't finance it.
Okay. Do you think what was that contributed to? They didn't want you to have it, maybe, or no? I don't know. That's kind of fishy, don't you think?
The only thing I know is the bank said on the Friday when they had the sale, they would be happy to finance it for someone. But Monday, when I went in, they saw who I was that was high bidder. Yeah. They decided that they needed all their money.
Oh wow! And you just happened to be able to do it though.
I arranged it.
Okay.
Get it done. We'll say it like that.
There you go.
And then I split this up, and I took 10 acres and made it a recreation. Then I built a house on the other, and I made it. My wife and I decided, let's do it this way. We'll take the 10 acres and call that T's Recreation, and The other part, we'll call it DMM Ranch.
How'd you come up with those names? DMM? What's DMM?
My wife is named Dolores, and my name is Matthew.
Wow.
So we
okay. Touche. I got it.
That's the way. That's why we named it. So we could qualify for things on the farm, or we could qualify in the business, and that's what we did.
What made you? Well, let me say this. What made you change part of it to a recreation? Was there not enough recreation in the area or something?
And living in Alaska, God is good.
Amen. All the time.
We were out to Lithonia to what they call a farm out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that, it wasn't much to go to. But anyway, I decided that we need to open up something nice. So we started what we call Cheese Recreation in Griffin.
Did that go well? I mean, did a lot of people frequent that place? Or?
Well, God is good. He blessed us.
All day.
Had accommodation for people to spend the night. We built the dormitory there. That was sleep 30 people.
Yeah.
And we'd have different family reunion. We had a lot of family reunion come down because we tried to have the facilities so there was something everybody has to do. They had horseshoe, they had swimming, they had basketball, ping pong, different things for the little kids to do. Then we had what they call a train, and we had cars made and a car to pull those people.
Oh, to pull it around.
That's what people did. Oh, that train. That train.
Yeah.
It was made for children, but adults loved it too. So it was quite a place. We ran it for 15 years.
That's a long time.
And then after that, I found out that I had cancer. And after that, I told my wife, I said, honey, this is going to be a lot for you to try to run. In case God take me, I would hate for you to have to try to run this. My son and daughter, at that time, they were grown and they weren't living there. Well, they were either married or away. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't want to see her with that. So I would pray to God that I could sell this. And he arranged it so that I could.
Amen.
And end up selling to the churches. A bunch of churches.
Wow. I guess they enjoyed it.
They did. They even wanted us to continue to run it, and I told them I couldn't run it.
That's the reason I'm selling it. Right. Well, I tell you what, man, all that is the fact that you had the initiative to do the businesses and stuff, and we all talking about doing businesses now, and there are some people doing it. That brings me to this question here. What can entrepreneurs do to be successful now? I mean, the initiative is always needed. You had it then, because a lot of these young people got millions and hundreds of thousands, and they got the rings and the cars, and few of them doing business. But what would you say would make us?
I think if we could get each other to work together and discuss different things, what we need to do, what we can do, and how we can do it. And it takes planning, it takes sensible minds. Mm-hmm. And we need to understand that just because we think of a thing don't mean that we would be the best one to run a thing.
Wow.
We need to get the right people at the right place. Mm-hmm. And let the right person be in charge, and we work to make the thing a success. You know, I heard a guy say one time, he said, you know, the only way we can make this thing work is we all work together.
Yeah.
And if we work together, we can keep the thing afloat. But if one of us make it, all of us need to make it.
Yeah.
But it's hard for us to seem like, to me, it's hard for us to get together and sit down and discuss a thing and work in harmony together. What I see us doing too much is we want to be the boss. We want to be the head.
I see.
We sometimes need to be the body.
Yeah.
And let the tail be the tail, the head be the head. But let's make sure we get the right person up front. Mm-hmm. And that's from what I see, that's the hardest thing that we're having so much issue is getting the right people in the right position and trying to work in harmony together. We have a lot of flickering, dickering, and we don't trust each other enough. And one reason I find it be is that we aren't trustworthy. A lot of us are just not trustworthy anymore.
Yeah.
When I grew up,
integrity. Yeah.
Integrity. When I was a young man, me and you shake hand, and if one shook the other one's hand, that was a confirmation that I'm going to do what I say I'll do.
Thank you.
You can count on me. I got your back.
Right.
You don't have to worry. Now we don't have that. We'll say we will, but we won't.
Yeah, right.
And it's so sad to see so many of us. And what really is amazing is there's so many people that cable, but they can't get their head together enough to do except to, I want this, I got mine, and you get to do what you got to do. Yeah. But I got this, I can't work for you, and you won't work for me, and I'm not gonna let you.
Right. And in the meantime, everybody falling in the hole in the middle. Yeah.
We grab each other and we pull each other down.
Yeah. And you're right about it. Everybody want to be the leader. Everybody want to be the boss. I'm not gonna follow you. What make you smarter than me? It took me some time to look at it, and I realize now that we all benefit.
We all benefit.
If a football team win a Super Bowl, it ain't just the quarterback. It ain't just the running back. It ain't just the lineman. All of us get it.
It's a team.
Yeah.
And we need to learn that and do it. Not to and another thing, we need to actually get in there and do the work.
Okay.
Because talking is cheap.
Okay. Speak on that. Get in there and do the work, because we want the benefit in the trophy, but we don't want to get in there and roll the sleeve up, is what you're saying, I guess.
Someone got to do the work.
Yeah.
And don't wait on me to do it. Let's do it together.
Right.
I can't wait on you because you may have a high priority temporarily, but you right now you can't do that, but you'll be there as soon as you can.
Yeah.
But let's stand in for the other one and let's pick up each other. Don't let us go down. I told a guy one time, I said, if I put my money into doing something, I don't mean to lose my money.
Thank you.
Ooh, and I want you to understand this. I don't mean for you to lose your money either. If you're going to put your money in mine, I'm going to work just as hard to make sure you are successful as I will myself. And I think that's what you need to do. And if you don't want to do that, I don't really want you in my business.
That's right. As the work ethic went down amongst us, as far as not capability, but wantability, if that ain't even a word, but
actually getting out there doing the thing. We like to talk about it.
Okay.
Wow. I've heard the expression that we go and we'll have a meeting, but we finish the meeting on the outside. We need to, once we leave the meeting, let's get something done at the meeting. Once we leave, let's go to work.
Let's go to work.
To get to whatever deal we discussed doing. But let's don't continue to talk about it. Let's do the work that needs to be done.
If you were starting an organization today, what would you start with? How would you start the foundation? And you saying what?
First thing I would do, I would get the group together and we do a prayer.
Okay.
And ask God to help us. And this, at the end of that, we'd start our meeting, but we'd have a topic, we'd have a discussion, we would discuss what we want to do, and then we decide how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, and even set it up to who we want to run this business or who's in charge of it.
Okay.
And we have to select who we make the as the president or whoever's in charge of it. And I found that a lot of time the person that seemed to want to be the president is the one we need to make sure not the president. The person that really would be the best person in the head of it, a lot of times is the person that do not want that because to be the leader and a good leader is really hard. And if you don't have some good supporting people to help the leader got a tremendous job to do, trying to lead. And in order to be a good leader, you're going to have some good followers and some good people behind you.
So you said the person who normally pushes to the front, I need to be the leader. That's probably a lot of times the person that need to really just help from the back.
Just help. Help. Be a good helper.
Yeah.
And I love to be the helper of a good leader. I love to be the helper of a good leader.
Wow. That'll preach. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you got a good leader, that leader need help. And if you keep helping, they'll lead like man. They'll do a terrific job.
And it'll take us all the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you don't have some good helpers, you aren't gonna lead real good because you can't lead by yourself.
It seems to me the mileage that we took on back in the day, in the older days, the reason we did make so many strides because people didn't mind having a good leader and supporting that leader, and we were able to move forward. And I guess that's why a lot of times that leader got took off the scene too, because we know if we can take him out, everybody else is gonna fall by the wayside.
And then if we can get him out, I got a chance. But you aren't ready. you got the chance, but you don't know how to lead.
There you go. Okay.
And then what happens then? It starts falling.
It starts falling. Wow.
You got to have good leaders.
Right.
And it's hard to lead, but if you got good support, it's not there as hard. But you got to have good support.
Are leaders born or are they developed?
They're developed.
Okay.
They're developed.
Okay.
If you have Christianity in you, it helps you a lot. But if you got Christianity in you and you go into a place where you got a lot of hell, you ain't going to be successful. There's no need to go in.
No.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work because everybody are not on the same page.
And it's hard to get them there.
Yeah.
It's hard to get there. And it's going to take prayer.
Yeah.
Anything God has been good to me. I told some people this before, and I don't say it often. But God had answered every prayer that I asked him for that was really serious and meant a lot in my life. He answered every one.
And it came to pass.
And they came to pass.
Yeah. Man, that right there could be taught on this generation period, what you just said. I think a lot of times we don't realize that the way we got this far is by having the help from the creator God above, because without him, we wouldn't have made it this far. We probably wouldn't even be here.
People don't trust in God like they did when I came along. And my sister and I, we talk about it now. At our age, we talk and saying we don't see what we used to see because it's not here. And what are our children going to do? We wonder because they aren't us. In other words, we are seen to be dropping lower and lower and
disintegrating, going lower and lower. Yeah, as a people, even. That's bad. You're 93. How old is your sister?
91.
91, man. Blessed with longevity too. Blessed with longevity. Well, man, listen, I got about 1,500 more questions I could ask you. I mean, and I probably will over a period of time. Maybe not on camera, all of them, but I am honored. This is a picture of Mr. Matthew. You can see that. Let me see if that camera will get it. If you can see that, that is a picture of Mr. Matthew and his family, who's done a lot in Alaska. Sharp fellow. Well, this is a picture of the
station
the station that you built and everything. Yes, sir. And that was in Alaska, and this was back in the 60s. And I tell you what, I think a lot of times people see people and they think they were born your age. think you came out like you at the age you are now. These are pictures of a businessman back in those days that he would take all day and tomorrow and the rest of the year to explain that it was not, I'm sure, still easy to carry yourself in a dignified manner to cover some of the stuff that you had to cover in terms of business and all of those things. And I'm just, I'm honored to have you. And we lose history when people like yourself are no longer around, and we recreate the stuff that we're seeing today. But here on the You're So Witty show, we come to bring positive messages and hopefully uplift and encourage and enlighten. and that you have done today, sir. So what I would like to say from this point forward is there anything that you would tell, say, my generation and lower, that we can do to start moving forward before we exit this interview?
Well, there's so much that needs to be said, and so, and I don't want to offend anyone.
That's your camera right there. You offend who you want to offend, right there.
But if we would learn to work together, would be a big thing. If we had more trust in one another, it would be a big help. And if we were more trustworthy, if we were more dependable, if we could count on each other as support. We have a weak support system. When I grew up, one woman would support another one. They'd look out for each other's household. The man would do the same thing. One would try to make sure that his neighbors, everything was like it need to be if he was absent or anything. Now, when we don't have that support system, we're missing a lot. A lot of us grew up with the lady on the corner that kept up with everybody in the community, and she was a bad person. But we're missing that lady today. We're missing that man today that demanded that we did the things that we need to do. We don't have no one to tell us that this is what you need to do. No, you can't be wishy-washy. You can't go around and hiding and slipping and doing things. God see you, whatever you're doing. So let's be true. Let's be real. Let's don't be foolish. Let's be real.
That's awesome. And my thing is this: how do we? And I was going to say, how do we weed out the people that don't have integrity or don't want to try? But I just thought of something. Maybe we just don't worry about them and gravitate to the people that want to do, the right thing.
If they will allow you. But you got to do that right. You can't hurt anyone's feelings.
Okay.
We don't want to hurt a person. We don't want to stifle anyone. Sometimes it takes a lot of time and patience to nurture a plant, a child.
Okay.
And sometimes we have to stay there with it. My mother was a good nurturer. I'm not a person that can teach and explain things well, but my mother could get down and take a baby and talk to that baby, and the baby would listen and hear and understand. And as it grew, it would learn some of the things that she was trying to tell it. And all of us are not good teachers.
That's right.
I'm not a good teacher. And I tell a person in a hurry, look, I can't tell you the things I need to tell you for you to understand what you need to do.
What's your strength though? You say you're not a good teacher, but I've gotten a lot from you today.
Well, I think my greatest strength is a vision. Now I see things that is going to happen or did happen before they happen.
Like you did the service station, and like you do the farm.
Right, yeah. Right. I see things now. I wish I could get a group of people together. If we didn't do anything now but buy land. Land is going to be a mighty thing another 15 or 20 years from now, because Georgia is growing and growing fast.
Yeah.
And if there's 10 acres of land any place near a road, a railroad, freeway, is going to be valuable.
I understand.
And if you own that land, you don't have to do anything with it. But if you own the land, somebody's going to come needing land to do this or land to do that.
So you say about 10 acres at least? Or?
At least 10 acres.
Okay.
If you keep prayer in it and God in it, it'll go. It goes. Sometimes it stifles a while, but that's to make you stop and look and listen and regroup and see something that you didn't see. Sometimes we can go too fast.
Yeah.
But most time we go too slow. But
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree. I would say right now, though, people like yourself are big shoes to follow. Big shoes to follow. And only way we can start doing that is just talk to people like yourself, find out where maybe we missing some things and try to fill in those gaps. I tell you what, we've gotten a mouthful here today, and Mr. Talmadge has come through and given me a lot to think about, even as I talk to him now. So hopefully we can bring you back another time, or just sit down again about another subject. But right now, I think you have given us all that we can stand to have. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
I enjoyed sitting here talking to you and listening to you. You seem to be you have a good inspiration that this is a lot of time what a lot of young people need. They need someone to talk to them that had the ability to talk to them where they can hear what you're saying. We talk to a lot of people, but a lot of people don't hear what we're saying.
Wow. Wow. Good. Well, I appreciate that. I thank you very much. That comes high regards for that. I appreciate it. I'm doing my part as you have done yours, and hopefully we can make a difference. Here on the You're So Witty show, we bring all these shows to you. If this is something that you like, things that you've heard, we ask that you like and subscribe. And we're going to continue to push forward. Until the next time, I want to say thank you, Mr. Talmadge, for coming.
Thank you.
And remember this, you too are so witty.